Hola. Muy buenos días. ¿Cómo estamos? See, you're all bilingual already. This is amazing. Good morning. Thank you so much for having us here today, and thank you so much for being here. Look at the crowd. This room is full. You all deserve a hand. All right. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you.
Honored to be on the stage with you. We have about 15 to 20 minutes to just share with you some ideas and some conversation around what leadership for the future means. And so, Jeff, take a seat. I'm going to go through a few data points since we have a lot of CEOs in the room. I know CEOs like numbers. And so we're going to give you a few just for awareness. We'll make these slides available to you if you're interested. But I'm going to take a couple seconds just to provide some awareness thought starters for our conversation. I have a clicker somewhere. Let's hope this is it and it doesn't blow up. All right. Okay. First slide I want to share with you. All of you have heard this idea and information regarding our demographic shift. We've been talking about this for 10 years. And so as we look around the room, we see that this is already happening. We are in it and we are moving towards it. So the U.S. Census provides us some information. And all I want you to really focus in on are the trend lines. As you can see, the top trend line is going down. This is our white population that is decreasing. As you look at the green trend line, this is our population of multicultural individuals that is increasing. And so as leaders, all I want you to think about is, what do these two trend lines say about us as a nation and about us as a community? All right, let me see the next one. Oops. Oops. I don't think this is the right clicker. Ah, there we go. Somebody's controlling it, so. All right. As you can tell, me and technology, we're best friends. All right, so when you look at the population, again, of the U.S., this is just 18 to 54-year-olds. You can see the blue trend line going down, and you can see the colored trend lines going up. This is just focusing on the age demographic of 18 to 54-year-olds. So just keep those thoughts in mind as we think about the workforce of today and the future. Next slide, if somebody's controlling this, there we go. So when we go from macro to us, to the state of Michigan, what are we seeing? We're seeing pretty much a mirrored effect of what's going on nationally. As we look at the census data from 2010 to 2021, we see again that our white population is decreasing, our African-American population is holding steady, and then the Latino and other races are increasing. So West Michigan and Michigan are mirroring what's happening across the United States. Next slide, please. And so when we look at Kent County, just focus on the pink, where we see from 76 to 72%. Okay, so this change is happening, and so this has implications for us as leaders. It has implications for us when we think about talent management, talent acquisition, retention, and training. Next slide, please. All right, and so you all are bilingual, Spanish, English. All right, there's more than 75 different languages spoken here in Kent County, and these are the most common languages that are spoken. Grand Rapids Public Schools and Kentwood Public Schools have over 75 different languages in their student body. So I just wanted to give you an idea of that we are no longer just a monolingual community. Next, please. All right? And then when we look at the workforce trends, and this is what we're here to talk about, what do we look at in terms of what is coming relative to workforce trends, and what are the things that we as leaders need to focus on? I'll let you just take a look at that real quickly. And again, we can make these available to you. Next slide, please. All right. And then these are the next trends that are shaping the future. So as Jeff and I have our conversation, we're going to think about these thoughts relative to how do we as leaders create our future, sustain our future, and keep your companies successful into the future. So thank you. All right. We're on, Jeff.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much. So Jeff, CEO of GR Chair Company. Tell us a little bit about you and the company and how you have transitioned the ownership of your family business.
Yeah, well, thank you, Anna. Thanks for the opportunity. So a little about Grand Rapids. Grand Rapids Chair is my family business. I started working for the family part-time in '95 and then full-time in '98. At that time, we had no manufacturing. There was just a few employees, myself, my dad, and my mom. We were a contract sales company. At that time, we were representing, from a selling capacity, many manufacturers who were selling their products and services to office furniture manufacturers. This is a super long story, but in the late 90s, we had the realization, basically, my dad was the brand. And if we wanted to build something bigger than my dad, bigger than the family, we needed to build a brand. So we made a huge decision. Really, it was my mom and dad making a huge decision. I'm 49 right now. I'll be 50 a week from Wednesday. My dad was 50, and he said, I'm going to bet everything, the family farm, and I'm going to try to build my own furniture company. So we changed our name. We did a name search. We knew we wanted something Grand Rapids in the name. Our logo today is almost exactly this. So the Grand Rapids Chamber is welcoming me to Grand Rapids Chair. So we found all these defunct residential furniture companies. We found Grand Rapids Chair. We said, perfect. At that time, the brand Grand Rapids Chair was 25 years defunct and out of business. So I really think it's cool today. We have about a 175-year-old brand. We have about 160 employees. I like to joke that we're Grand Rapids Chair Company located in Byron Center. We're vertically integrated furniture manufacturer. If any of y'all would love to see probably one of the coolest manufacturing organizations you've ever been, from the capacity of wonderful people engaged in make-to-order, high-mix, low-volume, craft-made furniture, you're welcome to come down to Byron Center, about 11 miles from here. So a little about my leadership journey. So obviously I had my dad. I had my dad for 14 years. Those 14 years for me were a wonderful, wonderful period where I developed some skills in manufacturing, supply chain, engineering that honestly were blessings and a platform to get me really to where I was today. But in 2012, my dad got really sick. He's still with us today, but from a work capacity, Dad exited the business, retired in 2013. And kind of the family joke is I became president and CEO in 2013, but I think I've wasted millions of dollars of my dad's money putting me in charge really a little too early. But I think, like anyone who's achieved a level of success, there's been a lot of hard work to get where we are today, but I think a lot of luck as well. So some of the hard work and the purposeful activity I endeavored to do, really trying to teach myself a lot of what I didn't know. I really leveraged the educational system to a large degree. I graduated from University of Michigan in the 90s with a vision of becoming a professional fisherman. That didn't work out so well for me. So now I'm working in the family business in a manufacturing organization. I know really nothing. I had this experience of working in the factory for about 12 years. That was a wonderful experience, but everything else I didn't know. So I went back to Grand Rapids Community College, I took all the welding classes I could take, the machining classes. I went back to Grand Valley State University, had a wonderful experience there. I talked myself, I think, into the engineering school. I got a master's in engineering, manufacturing operations emphasis. As soon as I graduated, I went to the Ross School of Business, University of Michigan, for an MBA. So I've really leveraged the educational system to gain a lot of the knowledge that I have today. Always, in addition to that, tried to surround myself with excellence. I think in reflection of where I've been the last 26 years, I'm not here today without people that I've surrounded myself with in different capacities. The people that work in my business, amazing, amazing people. We're always trying to recruit and select the best people to fit our value system and the skill set and the competence that we need. Focused on my advisory board. I've leveraged my advisory board now for over 12 years, working with my advisory board. So learning, talent, and networking. But I think kind of the coolest thing about my leadership journey has been, a lot of leaders share something similar. Something in that leadership journey is just dumb luck. So for me, my leadership journey, going from my dad retiring in 2013 to 2018, is kind of blah. That's what I just talked about. The cool thing was September of 2018, we had a town hall meeting. And it was in September of 2018, and usually at our town hall meeting, we're celebrating some of these milestone anniversaries. I'm the one in front of the employees saying a few words about a multi-year Grand Rapids Chair employee, and this time it was a gentleman named Felix Ramos Jr., who came into the business right around the same time I did. We're still good friends. I can remember him sitting in front of all the employees. I'm standing right by him, just like it was today. I can remember what he's wearing: blue jeans, a blue sweatshirt, the home blue away Detroit Tigers ball cap. And I don't think Felix wrote down what he was going to say. He just winged it. And I don't think he really meant anything by what he said, but he said a bunch of words. I don't remember what they were, but he paused. He looked over at me and he said, "Sometimes I wonder why Jeff is still here." And I said to myself immediately, I can't believe Felix just said that. And to be honest, those words, they immediately went into my heart and they stayed in my mind. And it led me to, I would say, months, and still to this year, today, years of reflection, really. Why am I in the business still, and what's my purpose as the leader of my company? And it took me a little while to find that. So yes, I was one of those people going into probably my, at that time, 20th year in my career. I didn't understand my why. But Felix helped me find my why. And once I could found my why, it was really transcendental for, I think, my leadership experience and the culture of the company, for me to find my why. And my why is quite simple. I'm here to help the people of Grand Rapids Share lead their best lives at work.
That's excellent. Thank you. So as you went through this journey, you educated yourself, you empowered yourself with learning. But I think folks want to hear there has to be one or two critical challenges that you had to overcome, in assuming that leadership. If you could share with us, one or two of those critical challenges and how did you face them, that'd be interesting for the audience.
Well, I have a third, but I know I'll bore everyone if I talk about COVID, because I think we're all over COVID, so I'll put COVID in the back. COVID was a tough time. I think being comfortable in my own skin. When my dad retired in 2013, in 2000, when we started the company, Dad had sold 25% of the equity to a young man that essentially became Dad's business partner. I think really I'm not here today had Dad not sold 25% of his equity to what was then his business partner. But after Dad retired, My dad's partner was about 10 years older than I, and probably the toughest decision of my career at that time was really deciding I knew what I had to do, and I had to change the culture of the business. Not that my dad was a bad guy, not that his business partner was a bad guy, but they wanted to go this way, and I knew if I was going to make a meaningful impact in the family business, it started with a values change and a culture change, and really that was instrumental in coming to the grips that I needed to go this way, and my dad's business partner wanted to go this way, and we had to navigate a way for me to purchase his equity and successfully move him out of the business and not harm the business and him, his family, and my family in doing so. And that was probably the toughest thing that I've done leading up to COVID.
Okay, great, thank you.
So maybe the moral of the story is there's something to making sure everyone has a seat on the bus and they're in the right seat in the bus. In this case, I had to move someone off the bus. Probably one of the toughest things I've had to do in my career.
And I'm sure many of us as business leaders and owners have faced some of those challenges as well. So as you assumed the leadership and you wanted to go this way, you mentioned culture and how important that was. Can you just share us a little bit about a snapshot about the Grand Rapids chair culture and what you are working on to move that forward?
Sure. So I told the story about Felix with his Detroit Tigers baseball cap and me finding my why and my purpose. Then I rolled into COVID. Coming out of COVID, really that reflection of finding my why and finding my purpose, really I had tremendous guilt. From the perspective, I've really been letting myself down, letting my family down, and letting my employees down because I never really had been functioning as the leader. I'd never done a good job at my job, and I couldn't tell you what my job was. I've taken this, I will not take credit for this. I took this actually from a friend of mine, a YPOer, who went through a similar leadership program I'm actually involved in right now. I know Joe Dyer's out here. I'll make a plug for Disher and Lead 24/7, but there's several, I think 67, 68 cohorts have gone through a Lead 24/7, which is a leadership and development program that's offered by Disher. So I've stolen this from a Lead 24/7 cohort member who came before me, but when I heard it, I was like, that's it. The job of a CEO is quite simple. As complicated as we think it is to be a CEO, our job is really quite simple. When someone put it in front of me, I was like, that's it. The job of a CEO and my job, and I really believe this today, is to actively manage conflict. And I had a board member said, conflict are those small fires that are out there in our organization. And if we don't go put them out real quick, they're going to become raging forest fires and they'll be out of control. So our job is to actively manage conflict and then lead and manage change. And when I heard that, I said, the lead and manage change, that's where I've really been letting my employees down. I've never laid down a great mission. We didn't have a mission. Like, we didn't have a problem to solve, and no one knew what our problem was they were trying to solve with a company. We didn't have a meaningful vision. No one could say where we're going. We didn't have a meaningful value statement. We had something, we called it CHAIR. Yes, we had an acronym. Our value statement was in our brand name, but it was really cool, but we knew something was missing. So I worked with my leadership team, and today, I wouldn't say we're way far down the path in the journey, but we're way farther than we were today, and we're really starting to, I think, in a meaningful, purposeful way, change the experience for employees based on, hey, what are the values? How are you working on the values? What do the values do for you in your work? So.
And cultural transformation is a journey.
Yep.
Right? You have a start, but it is a journey, and it takes everyone in the business to do that. Ruben mentioned something, and that is so central to our summit this morning. And my last question for you, Jeff, is Grand Rapids Chair is a very successful company. It has a multicultural and multilingual workforce, and you're continually working on that culture. So what does it mean to you to be a leader that's worth following?
Well, I wish I could speak in Spanish like Omar was, but yeah, to be a leader worth following, that's a hard question. I think for me, being a leader worth following is really doing two things fundamentally from a building block perspective. We create an atmosphere of physical safety and psychological safety for our employees. Building on safety, we build stability. I really believe without safety and stability, humans cannot flourish at work. You're firefighting, you're unsafe. Y'all remember Maslow's hierarchy of needs? Mm-hmm. If we're not meeting those needs first and foremost, we can't really get to the really cool part about work, and having people work towards their human potential. So I think I'm constantly trying to assess how we doing. There's two things I try to do every day. I maybe not get them, I don't get them done every day, but pretty close to that. I try to write a handwritten note recognizing something about the work across the organization. It's been amazing to see like the impact of that. My sticky notes and my Post-it notes and my notes will be in people's cubicles, so keep them on the shop floor. For me as a leader, that's a huge feel good. That makes me feel good about my job. And then the second thing is I try to have a real conversation. And a real conversation is something much more than like, hey, Nelson, how's it going? It's taking someone out for breakfast. It's taking out someone out for lunch. Just last week, I was with one of our fabricators out in the plant, Jim Kelly. Jim's a third-generation family farmer. Jim's mom and Jim's grandparents started a family farm in Martin, Michigan. And I ask every time I get into one of these human interactions and I see that the other person of the recipient of the conversation is into it, I ask them usually 1 to 3 questions. How's it going? What do you like about your job? What do you not like about your job? And I asked Jim, like, hey, Jim, how's it going, buddy? And Jim said, well, I really, really love my job. Jim's worked for us since 2017 because my job is just like the farm. I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. Like a manufacturing company, we're welding all this robotically welding and doing all this metal bending and powder coating. It's not really like a farm. He said, Jeff, it's just like the farm. You know, my job back in the fabrication area is to keep all these cool machines y'all got humming along. It's no different than keeping my 1949 Farmall and Dad's Al's Chalmers and Mom's Kubota going. It's no different. And then the team at work is just like my family. I was like, oh, that's so cool. And I share this with my team all the time. I have these cool conversations with employees, and those that stick around, you know, those we celebrate, I mentioned the milestone anniversaries. We celebrate the 2s, the 5s, the 10s, the 15s, and the 20s. Those that make it to those, I have these cool conversations. Everyone articulates it in 2 different ways, but I got 2 buckets. One bucket is something about the work. Like, hey, y'all are going to work. You got to like the work. If you don't like the work and you're not good at the work, you ain't going to make it. Second thing is something about a friend, a group of friends, and that social network at work. So I'd say that's my direct answer. It's all about Jim's experiences and liking the work and building a strong social network at work.
Okay. Wonderful. Jeff Miller, leader of the future.
Leader of the future? Thank you. You might excuse me?
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jeff. Hard act to follow, no? So I will try. So that was Jeff. Now it's about you. All right, we are going to take a little bit of time to do our little table discussions. You had some thought starters in terms of some numbers and demographic information, some work trends. You heard Jeff about his experience and about his company. We're going to take the next 15 to 20 minutes, and I believe Shawnee and Omar are going to keep me on task on time. But what we want you to do is the following for the next 15 minutes, all right? So here you go, audience. Here are the questions that we would like for you to discuss at your tables. How have you planned the transition of leadership or are already transitioning leadership in your organization or your business, okay? So are you planning? Have you done it? How's it going? What are the 2 or 3 significant opportunities or challenges, okay, as you build that leadership for your company for the future? What is going to enable you to thrive in your sector and in your community? And then as we close with Jeff and the question, what does it mean for you to be a leader worth following? All right, everybody got your task? Right? You can choose 1, 2, or 3, or you can choose 1. But the important thing that we want to happen is for you to be in conversation with each other and learn from each other. So the time starts now. We're going to be walking around. We're going to stop you in 15 minutes, and then we're going to select 1 or 2 to report out. Everybody got it? ¿Estamos? All right, here we go. As I was walking around, I heard lots of great conversation, lots of engagement, lots of laughing and sharing. So I love this portion of the summit when we have the time to come together. So how did everyone find it? Valuable conversation? Raise show of hands. High, nice and high. Very good, very good. So we're going to spend the next 5-7 minutes to kind of hear from some of you. And as I was walking around, I was stopping at tables and hearing the conversation.
We talked a lot about in terms of succession planning. There's a practical side of it, and that is there's a demographic, hole, if you will, behind some of us that are later in our careers. But then, so you have to deal with that, and that just means you got to be even more intentional about recruiting and retaining that talent and training that talent. But then also, I think everyone at our table talked about when you've got that talent, you've got to be building into it, and you do have to be intentional about spotting the potential in people and then finding ways to invest in them and making that a part of your company culture.
Great. Thank you. Thank you. Let's move on to this side of the room. Who'd like to share out on this side of the room? Anyone? I'm going to pick on you if you don't. Table 30. Way to go, Table 30. Let's hear what you guys were talking about. I like that. Take the initiative.
Thank you, Table 30.
Hi, this is Dancing Dave with Table 30. Nice to see everyone here. Our thing was trust, meeting people. So whether their workplace capacity, understanding where they're at it and some challenges that might be arriving from there and trying to just set those things and set them up for success. Setting ways to establish that trust through communication consistently, I think would establish both of those for growth and transgenerational growth, yada, yada.
All right. So we have a topic of succession and then building trust. Let's go. Anyone over here? Great, thank you.
Hi, Dave Uckelbarger, and the theme for our table was related to It's Lonely at the Top, I don't know if it's necessarily lonely at the top, but there's multiple stories about the being put into that leadership of a company, and what resources do we have? And I think three of us at the table have found different systems, operating systems to run our companies. And the theme was, truly, that opportunity to have somebody to walk alongside us, to teach us about the values that you drive home in the company, about the systems that you use to get the entire company heading the same direction, setting those goals, the 1, 3, 5, 10-year targets, and the opportunity to really drive those systems to accomplish those goals. And in multiple situations, it was the theme of we've hit those targets much sooner than we thought we would because we had the team driving together for success.
Wonderful, thank you. Thank you so much. All right, moving on this way. Any volunteers here on this row? Don't be shy. Oh, all right, moving on this way.
Okay.
All right, is my friend Dante back, or did you lock the door?
I think he's hiding.
He's hiding. All right, let's move on over here.
Oh,
Anyone over here?
I can share. I'd be happy to.
Oh, please do so. Please.
Lisa Brown, HR Collaborative. We do at our table. We discussed what do we do, or what do we want to do to be worthy of being a leader worth following. And what we talked about is really the importance of setting mission, vision, values that everyone at the organization wants to work towards, and then being a living, walking example of those, and really filtering down through the organization how everyone's contributions are valued and helps us achieve those. So you have that loyalty, that buy-in, that drive as an organization to move things forward.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. All right, my friends right here at the front table. Yes, I'm looking at you. Right here. Anyone want to share out? Grab a mic? Right here, thank you.
Good morning, Ben Cochran. So some of the things that we had talked about was needing to bring teams together, but understanding you need to end your silo culture in that everybody just wants to take care of what belongs strictly to them and understand how it collaborates and builds up into the big picture. But also something that multiple of us had talked about was the use of what we called residential knowledge, understanding of everything that I know in my position, but if one day I'm sick, I pass away, I'm gone, I retire, I quit, who's gonna do my job? So understanding of how you're passing down that knowledge to your next in line, and their next in line, and their next in line but making it natural and understanding that that's part of involving people in the regular processes. And as you do that, you're protecting your own company. You're making sure that everybody is prepared in case tomorrow isn't like today.
Great, thank you so much. All right, two more. Anyone over here on this side of the room that would like to share out? Please, right here.
I'm Nikki Nordfjord with Custer. My friend at Floor Marketing here brought up the aspect of cultural intelligence, which I thought was really great because at our table we were talking a little bit about company culture and how important that is, but just tying the overall company culture to the individual. So keeping them motivated and tying that why of your company into what the why of the individual person is, to just keep your entire company, the individuals that work with you, really motivated and tied into your mission as a company. Going back to what Jeff was saying, what's your mission and purpose about what you're doing?
Wonderful, thank you so much. One last one to take us home. Anyone? Please, go ahead.
Good morning, I'm Charlotte Bendis. So the one thing I can add is that fatigue is real right now. So creating the time for people to be developed is something that we really have to think about, because we can't just layer it on to a scope of work, a workload that is so large that people just don't feel successful. So I think in leadership development, that as leaders in organizations, we really have to look at the scope of work and making sure that we're prioritizing development, and that means moving other work off of people's plate so that they can focus on development. It can't just be something that's layered on to an impossible workload.
Right. Good. Good, thank you very much. Thank you. All right, so thank you for your participation. We had topics of succession, we had topics of systems, we have topics of trust, training and development, mission, core values, and culture. So as you can see, we as leaders have to have a breadth of knowledge and a breadth of scope to be able to model that leadership that we want. Thank you so much. I wish you a very successful summit this morning, and Ruben's on stage to take over.